A random guy scooped dirt off a baseball field, sealed it in a jar, and made millions. While you're out here convinced you need a degree, a business plan, and a decent idea to get rich. Another clown was renting his own forehead out like a parking lot, and a man with the business sense of a golden retriever was charging people to scream in an empty room. And every single one of these brain-dead, embarrassing, absolutely unhinged ideas made more money than most people see in a lifetime? We found 49 of them, and by number 33 your jaw will hit the floor. And don't forget to subscribe, because clearly your business professor never taught you any of this. 1. Picture this absolute nonsense from the early 2000s. A random entrepreneur looked at his pile of cardboard boxes and decided emptiness itself was the product America had been waiting for. He slapped a label on it that basically said, "Congratulations, you bought nothing," listed it online as the perfect gag gift, and waited for the internet to laugh him out of business. Instead, gift givers across the country lost their minds, ordering thousands of these glorified air containers. By the time accountants tallied it up, this man had pocketed over $20,000, selling literally nothing. 2. Somewhere in the Canadian Rockies, a clever schemer stared at the crisp mountain breeze and saw dollar signs floating in the sky. He grabbed empty cans, filled them with fresh alpine air, and marketed the whole thing to Chinese tourists choking on city smog back home for $20 a pop. Skeptics laughed at the idea until shipments started flying off shelves across Beijing and Shanghai. Wealthy customers were inhaling Canadian wind like it was champagne, gifting cans to relatives, and stocking up like normal groceries. The whole operation eventually turned into a legitimate yearly export business. 3. Back in the early 2000s, a Nebraska dude named Andrew Fisher looked in the mirror, saw his forehead, and saw a billboard nobody was using yet. He auctioned the skin above his eyebrows online, promising to wear a temporary tattoo advertisement for 30 days like a walking commercial. Snore spray company Snore Stop slapped down over $37,000 for the privilege, and suddenly, his face was on every news channel from Florida to Alaska. Copycats flooded the market trying to rent out body parts, but Andrew quietly walked away millions richer with the dumbest forehead in business history. 4. Somewhere in the awkward dating scene of Los Angeles, a wildly unbothered entrepreneur realized first dates suffer from one universal problem: silence. So he started renting himself out as a professional third wheel, sitting at restaurants nearby couples who needed a built-in scapegoat for any uncomfortable pause. Clients paid him to crack jokes, fill dead air, and absorb the blame when conversations crashed. Restaurants noticed the same guy eating dinner with different couples every night and assumed he was some sort of romantic warlock. He cleaned up financially, while everyone else mistook him for the smoothest bachelor in California. 5. Floating in the chaos of 2004, a Florida woman named Diana Dizer opened a sandwich she had bitten 10 years earlier and noticed the burn marks looked suspiciously like the Virgin Mary. Instead of throwing it out like any sane human being, she preserved the holy snack in cotton balls and listed it on eBay. The auction exploded across every news network in America, with reporters debating whether this was a miracle or just sad bread. An online casino swooped in and dropped $28,000 for the divine cheese toast. Diana walked away laughing. 6. Strolling through a bar in 1975, advertising guy Gary Dahl listened to his friends complain about their actual pets and had a wonderfully stupid idea. He grabbed smooth stones from a beach, glued tiny eyes on them, packaged each one in a cardboard carrier with breathing holes, and wrote a fake training manual teaching owners how to make rocks sit and stay. Americans completely lost their minds, buying these pet rocks for $5 each, like the country had collectively forgotten what a rock was. Within 6 months, Gary became a millionaire, and rocks became cooler than hamsters. 7. Rolling into the strange corners of online retail, one ambitious company started selling tiny lockets, supposedly containing authentic hair clippings from major celebrities. Customers paid hundreds of dollars to wear strands of someone famous around their necks, never once stopping to question how this hair was harvested or whether it was just somebody's neighbor's bathroom sink. Fan clubs went wild, gossip blogs covered the trend, and revenue climbed into 6 figures. Investigators eventually wondered if those follicles ever belonged to anyone remotely famous. Either way, the founders rode the weirdest wave in fashion, all the way to the bank. 8. Walking into the strange world of touch-deprived America, a guy named Adam Lippin spotted a wild opportunity nobody dared to admit existed. He launched a service called Cuddlers, where trained professionals charged $80 an hour to snuggle perfectly fine strangers on couches. Critics rolled their eyes, late-night hosts roasted him for weeks, and suspicious husbands questioned everything about modern society. Yet appointments booked solid across multiple cities, demand exploded faster than anyone predicted, and franchises popped up nationwide. Lonely Americans were paying mortgage money just to be hugged by polite strangers wearing comfortable sweaters in dimly lit rooms. 9. Bubbling up in the era of dramatic breakups, a company unleashed a service called Revenge Font. Customers typed out brutal goodbye letters, savage notes to terrible bosses, and rage-filled messages aimed at backstabbing friends. Then chose from a menu of typefaces designed to look maximally passive-aggressive. The company printed everything on premium stationery and mailed it directly to the target like a polite assassination. Sales skyrocketed because nothing satisfies an angry American more than a perfectly typed insult arriving by post. The founders printed money, while their customers printed grudges across the entire continental United States. 10. Down in some unbothered corner of California, a slick operator launched a business solving the single greatest fear in American life, calling your mother-in-law. For $75 a pop, he picked up the phone and held a delightful 20-minute chat with somebody else's overbearing relative, complimenting her recipes, asking about her garden, and pretending to care about her bridge club drama. Clients across the country signed up faster than he could dial. Husbands wept tears of joy. Wives finally got a break. And somewhere a retired woman bragged about her sweetest son-in-law without ever realizing he was a hired stranger. 11. Out in suburbia where the lawns are perfect and the boredom is real, a wildly clever Pennsylvania couple started Rent the Chicken. They delivered live hens, portable coops, water dishes, and feed straight to families craving the farm life without committing to actual farm life. Parents paid hundreds for a weekend of pretending to be homesteaders. Kids named the birds ridiculous things like Nugget and Karen, and Instagram exploded with backyard poultry content. The business franchised across dozens of states and crossed 7 figures in revenue. America officially decided renting chickens was more practical than buying a dozen eggs. 12. Drifting through a graveyard in Arizona, a woman named Joy Roy looked at boring headstones and decided dead people deserved their own YouTube channels. She launched a company that engraved QR codes onto tombstones, letting visitors scan the rock and watch full video biographies of the deceased narrating their own life story from beyond. Families ate it up, ordering personalized digital eulogies by the thousands. Cemeteries became suddenly interactive, mourners started binge-watching strangers, and Joy built a million-dollar operation. America had officially turned grieving into a streaming service complete with autoplay and commentary. 13. Floating through the loneliest neighborhoods of Tokyo and later America, a company decided social embarrassment was a goldmine. Clients paid actors to show up at their houses pretending to be long-lost friends, popping by for backyard barbecues, waving enthusiastically from the driveway, and laughing too loudly within earshot of nosy neighbors. The whole point was tricking the people next door into thinking you were wildly popular. Bookings exploded, especially around holidays when relatives were watching. Customers happily paid hundreds per visit, just so the lady across the street would finally stop assuming they had no social life whatsoever. 14. Lurking in the fluorescent nightmare of office break rooms, a sandwich thief epidemic was destroying American productivity. Entrepreneur Sherwood Forley struck back by inventing anti-theft lunch bags, sandwich pouches pre-printed with disgusting fake green mold patterns that made every meal look spoiled. Co-workers reached into the fridge, recoiled in horror, and walked away convinced the Turkey Club had grown legs. Sherwood started selling these bags by the millions across offices, schools, and college dorms. Lunch theft rates plummeted nationwide while he banked serious cash. America had finally weaponized fake mold against its most annoying employees. 15. Rolling through the air freshener aisle of every Walmart in America, one company decided pine trees were yesterday's news and donuts were the future. They started producing little cardboard cutouts shaped exactly like glazed pastries that hung from rearview mirrors, releasing sugary bakery aromas inside every minivan. Drivers cruised down highways smelling like Krispy Kreme drive-thrus, dieters lost their minds, and parents complained about kids constantly trying to eat the dashboard. Sales went absolutely bananas across truck stops and convenience stores. The founders quietly raked in millions, while America collectively gained 5 pounds just from sitting in traffic. 16. Brewing in the strange ego economy of Silicon Valley, one ambitious guy launched a website where billionaires could pay him to publicly roast them online. Tech moguls and hedge fund kings lined up eagerly, throwing thousands of dollars at the chance to be called pretentious, out of touch, or comically bald. Their fragile public images suddenly seemed relatable, fans loved the humility, and stock prices occasionally ticked upward. The insults were savage, the checks were enormous, and the demand never slowed down. Apparently, the wealthiest humans alive secretly craved nothing more than a stranger calling them deeply uncool. 17. Sprouting from the bizarre depths of the internet, a company called Potato Parcel launched the dumbest mailing service in modern history. Customers paid around $15 to write personal messages directly on raw potatoes, which were then shipped to friends, enemies, and unsuspecting ex-boyfriends across America. Confused recipients opened mailboxes to find anonymous starchy threats, sweet birthday greetings, or random declarations of love. The founders landed a deal on Shark Tank, scaled up massively, and reportedly cleared millions. America had collectively decided that nothing communicates emotion quite like an unwashed root vegetable arriving via United States Postal Service. 18. Rummaging through her grandmother's closet in the 1980s, a savvy woman noticed everyone mocking those tacky reindeer holiday sweaters covered in jingle bells. Instead of laughing along, she started collecting them, then selling them by the truckload at boutique prices to ironic college kids hosting themed parties. Demand snowballed harder than a Vermont blizzard. Ugly Christmas sweater parties became a national tradition, and corporations eventually launched entire seasonal lines. Her early bet on hideous knitwear turned into millions of dollars. America had officially decided that looking ridiculous in December was a personality, not a punishment. 19. Cruising through the painful awkwardness of family road trips, a sharp inventor unleashed a GPS device that exclusively spoke in the voice of a disappointed parent. Drivers heard heavy sighs after every wrong turn, guilt trip monologues at every missed exit, and the occasional comment about how their cousin already owned a house by this age. Customers howled with laughter, bought units for friends, and gifted them at every birthday across suburban America. Sales rocketed into millions because nothing motivates a driver more than being emotionally crushed by their dashboard. Real parents finally had a worthy electronic replacement. 20. Slacking through art school somewhere in Brooklyn, two pals invented a band that never actually existed. They designed a logo, printed t-shirts, made fake tour posters, and built a mythology around music that was never recorded or performed live. Hipsters caught wind, decided the irony was peak culture, and started buying merchandise like it was sacred memorabilia. The fake band trended on social media, fans tattooed the fake logo on real arms, and the duo banked 7 figures purely on collective delusion. America had officially proven that the actual music industry was the least necessary part of being a band. 21. Brewing in the petty rage of every American office, a clever entrepreneur turned workplace resentment into pure profit. He launched a service where customers mailed in photos of their bosses, and his team crafted squeezable stress balls featuring the manager's exact face molded in soft foam. Employees finally got to squeeze, slam, and occasionally drop-kick their tyrannical supervisors during lunch breaks. Orders flooded in from cubicles across the country, HR departments quietly panicked, and the founder watched millions roll in. America had officially discovered that the cheapest therapy involved disfiguring a tiny replica of your boss's head. 22. Brewing inside the heart of every conflict-avoidant American, a brilliant company launched a passive-aggressive note delivery service. Customers typed out their pettiest grievances about loud neighbors, food-stealing roommates, or co-workers who hummed too loudly, and the company printed everything on official-looking stationery before mailing it anonymously. Recipients opened envelopes containing devastating polite insults with no return address. Sales skyrocketed because Americans would rather pay strangers than confront anyone face-to-face. The founders cleaned up financially while quietly fueling neighborhood feuds nationwide. Confrontation officially became outsourced, like accounting, customer service, and reheating leftover pizza. 23. Slacking around with a laptop in some coffee shop, a clever guy realized businesses were paying decorators thousands for ambiance, but ignoring the most visible thing in their lobby, the Wi-Fi network name. He launched a service charging $500 per name, coming up with jokes like Pretty Fly for a Wi-Fi or Bill Y the Science Fi. Restaurants, hotels, and dental offices lined up eagerly. Customers laughed every time they connected, businesses gained free word of mouth, and the founder banked serious cash. America had officially decided that even a router deserved a stand-up comedy career. 24. Stacked neatly in some Vermont warehouse, real frozen pond chunks were being shipped across America to people who missed winter. The company carved massive blocks of icy water straight from genuine New England ponds, packaged them in insulated crates, and overnighted them to homesick customers melting in Texas, Arizona, and Florida. Families displayed the slabs in backyards, kids slid around briefly before everything liquefied, and Instagram exploded with content. Sales went absurdly high during summer months. America had officially decided that authentic winter vibes were worth paying serious money for, even when they puddled across the patio. 25. Slouching around his apartment in some artsy Brooklyn loft, a stylish guy spotted a bizarre gap in the denim market. He bought brand new raw jeans, wore them aggressively for 30 days straight without washing them, then resold the broken-in pairs to fashion obsessives at triple the original price. Hipsters worshipped the natural fades, the perfectly worn knees, and the authentic creases nobody could fake. Boutiques across Manhattan stocked his pants, magazines profiled the trend, and customers happily paid extra for someone else's leg sweat. The dirtiest hustle in fashion history had officially gone fully mainstream. 26. Stomping through Los Angeles in pure frustration, a sharp businesswoman noticed Americans had nowhere acceptable to lose their minds. So she opened a soundproof rage room, charging $500 per session for the privilege of screaming, smashing plates, and obliterating old televisions with baseball bats. Stressed lawyers, frustrated parents, and silently fuming engineers lined up around the block. Wait lists stretched 2 months long. Corporate team-building events booked entire weekends, and the founder banked serious cash. America had officially decided that yelling into a padded room was cheaper, faster, and far more satisfying than years of traditional therapy. 27. Lounging around some luxury showroom, one company launched an entirely unserious product line, designer garbage bags. They printed knockoff luxury brand logos across thick black plastic and sold rolls for $50 apiece as an ironic joke aimed at wealthy hipsters. The punchline backfired spectacularly when actual rich people started buying them completely seriously, lining trash cans across Beverly Hills with logo-stamped sacks. Reality stars flaunted them on social media, influencers reviewed scented versions, and sales skyrocketed. The founders banked millions, while America watched billionaires throw out their leftover sushi using overpriced plastic that screamed status from the curb. 28. Standing solemnly in the back of countless American funerals, professional mourners hired themselves out to families worried about embarrassing turnout numbers. The service provided dressed-up strangers who cried convincingly, dabbed handkerchiefs at perfect intervals, and whispered touching memories about deceased people they had never met. Relatives of low-key uncles and antisocial grandfathers paid premium rates to fill the pews and make the deceased look beloved. Bookings exploded across the South, the founder banked millions, and grief became surprisingly theatrical. America had officially decided that the size of a funeral mattered more than the actual life behind it. 29. Banging loudly on bedroom doors across America, a strange new company unleashed mourning alarm bodyguards. Customers prepaid to have giant strangers physically arrive at their houses before sunrise, refusing to leave the doorstep until the sleepy client got fully dressed, brushed their teeth, and walked outside. Snooze buttons became obsolete overnight. Productivity skyrocketed among chronic oversleepers, and the founders cashed in massively. Roommates absolutely hated it, neighbors filed complaints, and one guy reportedly tried climbing out a window to escape his own service. America had officially outsourced waking up to terrifyingly polite human alarm clocks for hire. 30. Tapping away at a clunky old typewriter, a guy named Marcus invented the future letter business. For $200, he crafted formal documents supposedly written by someone's future self from the year 2087, packed with absurd fake historical events like the Great Hamster Uprising or the banning of denim by President Reynolds. Customers ordered them as gag gifts, sentimental keepsakes, or weirdly motivational tools. Sales caught fire across birthdays, retirements, and graduations nationwide. Americans paid premium money to receive nonsense predictions about their own great-grandchildren. The future officially became the dumbest, most profitable stationery genre in modern history. 31. Snoring quietly inside tiny capsules scattered across major airports. Exhausted travelers happily paid $40 for 20 minutes of glorious unconsciousness. A clever company called Minute Suites realized layovers were torture and built fancy soundproof closets stocked with daybeds, white noise machines, and dim lighting. Stranded passengers booked these pods faster than the gate agents could announce delays. Business travelers became addicted, families discovered survival mode during long connections, and revenue climbed into millions. Hotels finally noticed the bleeding wallet wound and panicked. America had officially decided that paying premium prices to nap in airport closets was completely reasonable adult behavior. 32. Scooping handfuls of grimy infield clay from Yankee Stadium and Fenway Park, one wildly opportunistic guy started bottling dirt and selling it as sacred souvenirs. He sealed the soil into tiny glass vials, slapped authentication labels on them, and charged superfans $75 a spoonful. Collectors lost their absolute minds, displaying overpriced mud on mantles like ancient relics. Sports forums debated authenticity for hours. Gift shops stocked the stuff nationwide, and the founder banked millions. Stadium groundskeepers reportedly raised eyebrows watching one man treat home plate like a gold mine. America had officially monetized the cheapest material on Earth. 33. Sprawled comfortably across leather couches, an unhinged group of entrepreneurs convinced major brands they needed professional Netflix watchers on payroll. Their agency binged entire streaming catalogs, wrote detailed reviews of every season, and produced trend reports about which shows celebrities tweeted about most. Marketing departments paid premium rates for their couch-based research. The team worked in pajamas, expensed popcorn, and built it into a 7-figure operation. Friends and family stopped believing it was a real job. America had officially decided that lying horizontally with snacks while judging television counted as legitimate consultancy work worth 6 figures. 34. Tucked into some unassuming warehouse in Pennsylvania, a chaotic little store called Just Bought It opened its doors selling nothing but mystery Amazon returns. Customers wandered inside, never knowing whether they would walk out with a blender, 12 mismatched shoes, or a karaoke machine missing the microphone. The whole gimmick was pure unfiltered chaos, and shoppers absolutely lost their minds over it. Lines stretched around the block, TikTok videos exploded, and revenue skyrocketed. Returned merchandise had officially become more exciting than buying things on purpose. America loved gambling with strangers' discarded shopping decisions at deeply discounted prices. 35. Belting out off-key apology songs in random parking lots, costumed performers showed up at unsuspecting ex-partners' workplaces nationwide. A bizarre service called Apology Telegrams hired actors dressed as clowns, gorillas, and singing pirates to deliver personalized musical regrets on behalf of customers too cowardly to say sorry themselves. Coworkers watched in horror, security guards intervened weekly, and HR departments collectively aged 10 years. Yet bookings flooded in, demand exploded, and the founders cashed in massively. America had officially decided that hiring a 6-foot dancing banana was emotionally healthier than typing out a sincere apology text message. 36. Flipping through stacks of secondhand photo albums, a hilarious married couple stumbled onto absolute comedy gold. They started collecting the most cringeworthy family pictures imaginable. Awkward Christmas portraits featuring mismatched sweaters, suspicious uncles, and crying toddlers. Then published them as glossy yearly calendars. Holiday shoppers grabbed copies by the millions, gifting them at secret Santa parties across America. The founders earned serious cash because every household needed proof that their own family chaos was statistically average. Awkwardness officially became a profitable export. Strangers' embarrassing memories had quietly become the most relatable comfort product in American retail. 37. Whispering nervously into a phone line, anxious customers paid $3 a minute to dial up a professional overthinker who refused to offer any solutions whatsoever. The hotlines simply matched their spiraling worst-case scenarios with even darker hypothetical disasters, validating every irrational fear in real time. Therapists hated it, customers became wildly addicted, and the company quietly raked in serious revenue. Callers reportedly left conversations more panicked than when they started, yet kept coming back nightly. America had officially monetized anxiety into a premium subscription service. Apparently, nothing comforts a worried mind quite like another worried mind agreeing intensely. 38. Dialing nervously from a Manhattan call center, professional impersonators charge $200 to phone unsuspecting bosses pretending to be Harvard administrators. The actors confirmed entirely fake alumni status, praised the client's non-existent academic record, and casually mentioned imaginary scholarships. Hiring managers fell for it, promotions rolled in, and salary negotiations skyrocketed across corporate America. The founder banked millions while HR departments updated nothing. Background check companies eventually caught wind and panicked. America had officially decided that an Ivy League degree mattered less than knowing a guy with a convincing telephone voice and zero moral hesitation. 39. Crouching beside cluttered kitchen cabinets, a strange guy launched the most niche organization business in modern history. He visited customers' homes, meticulously sorted their chaotic junk drawers, photographed the dramatic before and after transformations, then sold framed prints of the results as wall art on his website. Interior designers fell in love with the concept, suburban moms bought them by the dozen, and galleries actually displayed the collections. The founder pocketed serious cash while making clutter look like fine art. America had officially decided that random batteries, dead pens, and rubber bands deserved museum-quality framing. 40. Scribbling away in flowery cursive, a sneaky agency cranked out fake 5-star reviews celebrating customers' completely average home cooking. Clients submitted descriptions of their meatloaf, casseroles, and questionable pot roasts, then received glowing handwritten testimonials from imaginary food critics raving about every bite. Buyers framed these compliments and hung them proudly in their kitchens alongside the toaster. Dinner guests assumed everyone was secretly a culinary genius. Sales exploded across suburban America, the founders cashed in massively, and self-esteem reached historic highs. Mediocre cooking had officially been laundered into framed evidence of restaurant-grade brilliance through pure typography. 41. Knitting calmly in a rocking chair, a sweet-faced grandmother became the hottest rental in modern dating history. Her granddaughter launched a service offering grandma as a fake relative for clients who needed a charming elderly woman at events, family dinners, or first impressions with skeptical in-laws. The old lady showed up, baked cookies on demand, complimented strangers' shoes, and convinced every audience the client came from wholesome stock. Bookings exploded across major cities, the calendar filled months in advance, and the family banked serious cash. America had officially decided that borrowing somebody else's nana was perfectly acceptable adult behavior. 42. Buzzing softly through 500,000 phones every morning, a strange little service delivered random compliments from anonymous strangers for $9 a month. Subscribers woke up to texts saying things like, "Your shoulders look strong today," or "Your potential is genuinely terrifying." Nobody knew who wrote them, nobody knew who received them, and absolutely everyone felt mysteriously seen. Sign-ups exploded across exhausted millennials, lonely retirees, and overworked parents. The founder pocketed millions while never revealing a single sender. America had officially decided that flattery from invisible strangers was emotionally cheaper than confronting actual feelings with actual people. 43. Squinting intensely at blurry dog photos through a webcam, a self-proclaimed pet psychic charged worried owners hundreds of bucks per Zoom session. She announced that golden retrievers felt misunderstood, hamsters held grudges, and one cat reportedly hated the family's choice of curtains. Customers cried, took notes, and immediately redecorated their homes based on rodent feedback. Her calendar booked solid 6 months out, social media exploded with testimonials, and the bank account ballooned. Skeptical husbands quietly seethed in the background. America had officially decided that veterinarians knew medicine, but only psychics understood why the parakeet seemed emotionally distant lately. 44. Trickling endlessly through cheap headphones across America, a simple website played nothing but the sound of rain 24 hours a day. Insomniacs, stressed office workers, and overstimulated college students made it part of their daily survival routine. Millions of users logged on monthly, never paying a dime, while the founder quietly sold advertising space against all that drizzling audio. Revenue climbed into absurd territory for what was essentially a recording of weather. Meteorologists watched in disbelief. America had officially decided that fake rain pumped through tiny earbuds was more soothing than therapy, vacation, or talking to anyone face-to-face. 45. Strutting confidently into corporate lobbies, wearing matching tracksuits, professional hype men charged clients $150 to attend job interviews as backup intimidation. They never entered the actual meeting, instead loitering loudly in waiting rooms telling other nervous candidates how their guy had already saved 3 companies and possibly invented email. Competing applicants quietly spiraled, receptionists giggled awkwardly, and the founder banked impressive cash. Hiring managers occasionally suspected something weird was happening upstairs. America had officially decided that confidence was contagious, ridiculous, and apparently worth paying a stranger in athletic wear to broadcast loudly before negotiations even started. 46. Swinging a hypnotist's pocket watch back and forth. A peculiar company promised to delete unwanted memories from paying customers' brains. Clients arrived desperate to forget Game of Thrones spoilers, embarrassing karaoke nights, or ex-partners' phone numbers permanently lodged in their heads. The professional forgetter service charged steep rates per session, claiming the human mind needed regular spring cleaning. Whether anyone actually forgot anything remained scientifically questionable, yet bookings poured in non-stop. The founder banked serious revenue while customers walked out blinking slowly. America had officially decided that selective amnesia was a wellness treatment worth purchasing repeatedly without remembering why. 47. Buzzing through phone lines at sunrise, professional voice actors performed entire fake morning radio shows personalized for paying customers. Subscribers heard their own name announced cheerfully, fake traffic updates about their actual commute, invented celebrity gossip starring people they vaguely cared about, and weather reports tailored to their exact zip code. The $30 monthly service felt suspiciously like having a tiny radio station obsessed exclusively with one listener. Sign-ups exploded across lonely commuters and bored work-from-homers. America had officially decided that being the imaginary center of a fake media universe was emotionally worth a streaming subscription. 48. Stamping official-looking certificates with golden seals. A clever entrepreneur sold ownership rights to individual days of the week for $25 apiece. Customers proudly claimed personal dominion over a specific Tuesday or a random Thursday, displaying their fancy documents on living room walls like genuine property deeds. 300,000 certificates flew off the digital shelves, raking in millions of dollars for absolutely nothing tangible whatsoever. Buyers gifted weekdays at weddings, birthdays, and retirements nationwide. America had officially decided that owning a slice of time, even one nobody could legally enforce, made surprisingly meaningful Christmas gifts for confused relatives. 49. Slipping handwritten diary pages into envelopes addressed to total strangers. A wildly bizarre subscription service hooked 200,000 curious Americans. Every month, members received an anonymous journal entry from someone they would never meet. No name, no date, no context, just raw, private thoughts scribbled across loose paper. Some pages contained heartbreak, others held grocery lists. Occasionally, there appeared deeply unhinged confessions about coworkers. Subscribers became completely obsessed, theorizing wildly about each mystery author. The founders pocketed millions while quietly fueling the strangest pen pal economy ever invented. America had officially decided that snooping through strangers' secrets beat reading actual books. And there you have it, folks. 49 glorious proofs that the dumbest idea in the room is usually the one quietly buying a mansion. While you were busy being reasonable, somebody out there sold a potato and retired early. So if your brain just short-circuited, smash that like button, subscribe to Brain Fumble, and ding the notification bell so you never miss the next dose of beautiful nonsense. Share this with that one friend who keeps saying they need a real business plan. Now tell me down below, which ridiculous idea would you actually invest in tomorrow?